then it doesn't matter. It won't happen the way that we have that. And the reason that I love this thought of trying to build ourselves and that potential, right, is because it allows me to break through plenty of barriers day in and day out. I go through workouts sometimes where I can't feel my legs, and I'm constantly throwing up, or I know that's disgusting. I'm sorry about that, but I'm constantly throwing up, or my arms feel like they're gonna fall off, or I can't seem to think straight. And then the reason I'm willing to go there time and time again is because I know that I have to go there to make sure that I gain something. I push and I strive for something, right? And we all know that. One mistake that we always have. There's two things that we're really good as people and as athletes. All right. First is coming up short, and second is thinking that we made it. All right. Those are the two things that we're capable of doing. We're really good about doing that and fooling ourselves. All right. But how many times have you done a workout and your coach comes up to you and says, all right, last go? Like, it could be sprints, it could be on an aerodyne, it could be whatever. But how many times is it that you guys do those things, right? And you look to strive, and you're supposed to be pushing yourself, right? You're supposed to be striving and pushing. How many times is it your coach comes to you and says, last go, and you're able to give 120%, 150%? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would your last go be the hardest one and not your first one or your second one or halfway through? Or why is it that we put this, like, oh, well, like, I'm gonna go, but then as soon as they say last one, we're like, oh, I'm gonna go all out. But I would rather it be where it's like, I went all out. I went so hard for the first however many that we did, sprints, fights, that I couldn't do it at the end. I couldn't give everything. That's my goal when I go and do these workouts. Like, I want to push myself so hard in the first go, and the second go, and the third go, and the fourth go, that I cannot make it to this last one. I can't do 100% of 100. I might be able to do 100% of 60, but I look to push myself to that point, and that's what needs to happen. That's the focus, and when we do these things. So that's why, I definitely have this goal of pushing myself to be the best that I could possibly be, and making it so that this is something that, yes, it's tough, but I love it. But when you love something, you make sure to do it right. I think another thing too, as we are in this time, start focusing in on your mentality, understanding what you're doing, what's your process, what's your I would like to say what's your go-to thought process, honestly, because I think we all have a process that we go through in our minds. And some of us, it's great. It's like, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm going to go tear this guy up. Some of us, it's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I think focusing in on that, understanding why, and understanding what can I do to change that? What can I do to really understand that? And I think this is a time where you have to really be honest with yourself at this moment in time. And this is a great time to do it. You don't have anybody else around. You don't have to worry about anyone being like, oh, you're worse for think of this, or you're this or that. I'm like, no. This is completely for you to, go back, think about why you do what you do. Why is it that you think about the phrases you think when you get into that match and you're trying to think about, well, like, this guy's really big and he looks really strong. Like, I don't know this guy. People say he's pretty good, or thinking, why is it that one match it'll be that, but the next match it'll be like, I'm the man. I'm the guy. I'm gonna tear up anybody that comes in there. Like, I'm that good. And I think it's better for you to figure out how to make yourself more consistent in that. And I think this is the time to do that. This is the time to focus in on that, to rethink things. You know how many matches of my own in this quarantine? I probably watch actually every match of my own in this quarantine. Every single one, from wins to losses, looking at it from every different aspects. I've watched so many matches, and I've watched them time and time and time again. And I look to continue to find ways to either get better or see what I was doing in a position, or why I thought the position really worked, or why I was thinking a certain way. And I can tell, like, with me, like, I've been doing this long enough, I can tell whenever I have the right mindset and when I have the wrong mindset. And so, like, it's something that definitely, like, you can see it, you can see it, and you have to pinpoint what is it. And you really think about it. This is something that I do constantly. This is one of the reasons why I write. I love to write, because when you sit down with yourself and you're writing down on a piece of paper, Like at first it seems kind of stupid, and you're like, oh, like you're kind of, I don't know, you're yapping really. You're just writing down. But then as all the crud moves out of the way, there is no other way to be honest with yourself except for what you have in your mind. You start writing and you're like, this is dumb, but like this, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But really, when you start to focus in on it and think about it, and everything else is already put down, and you start to read it, you understand like, okay, it takes you down to where it's like this has to be the most honest thing. It's like it makes it so like this is the truth now. This is what I feel or why. Um, and then you focus in on what do I need to do to change that. We do a lot of work with sports psychology, and I think that that's something that's huge for our sport. I think that people don't understand how mental our sport is. They only see the physical, especially outsiders looking in. They see us looking big and strong and going out and trying to slam people or take people down. And it's like the case isn't, and a lot of times when you watch that, yeah, you see the moves, but what you don't see that plays more of a part is the thought processes that go into that, and the mentality that goes behind what they do, what we do. You understand? Like what we do is not just the technique that we hit, because all the technique in the world doesn't matter if the mentality behind it is weak. If the mentality behind it is not real. It's not there. If the mentality is not there, it doesn't matter what technique you learn. And it doesn't matter who's coaching you. It doesn't matter what. If your mindset does not believe in what you're doing, or your mindset does not believe in the technique that you've been taught, and the coaches in your corner, and your ability and what you've done, the training that you've done, then whatever technique that you learn or you get, it'll fade out. It won't matter. There's a difference between someone who goes to hit a double leg who's thinking I'm going to run your head through the wall, and someone who hits a double leg and just like I hope I get there. You have to have this. So you have to train this. You have to understand this. And so for me, even right now, because I always do this, I don't really like visualizing. I never like to visualize, but I do like to think about positions over and over and over again in my head. You know, I like to put myself in those positions, whether it be, hey, take a, like me going through a sequence of me taking a shot, him sprawling, me backing out, dragging to go behind. He squares up, sweeping to the right side. He steps his leg back, snap double. Like I love doing that. That gets me around, like making myself almost familiar with everything, and like making me more confident in what I know in my technique. And I think that's something that works for me. Like I personally like that. Um, but there's just so much that has to go into what we do. And right now, I think the things that we don't focus on normally is something that will grow us so much more for the future. Physically we may not be able to do much, right? Physically we may not be able to wrestle everybody, shoot the shots we want to take, whatever it is, depending on what you have. I don't have a wrestling mat here. I don't like having a wrestling mat at home. I'm on one most of the days. So, but like, we're not able maybe to take the shots, to do the drags, to do everything. But this right here, we can think about it. We can put ourselves through it. You can understand it. There'd be times when I was younger, I would take a move and I would dream about it. No joke. I would dream about it, come back, and be able to do it. You don't understand, like, the power of your mind is something that will carry you so far in this sport. That's something that you need, and that's something that these guys that I've been around the Kyle Dates, I've been around the Kyle Snyders, I've been around the David Taylors, I've been around the Jordan Burroughs, the Sarah Hildebrands, the Adeline Grays. These people, what makes them special, what makes them great, it's not the techniques that they hit, because everyone hits those techniques. All right, like don't get me wrong, we all know JB has a double, right? It's a great double, and he's blessed physically to do it. Like he's blessed to be quick, fast, explosive, right? But at the same time, JB's mindset, if you ever got a chance to sit with him, his mindset when he's going to hit that double is almost to the point of I would say it's almost to the point of insanity. He's coming to wreck everything in your life. You know, Kyle Snyder with his hand fighting, he's looking to break you as a human being. You know, he knows he's going at a high pace, especially for a big guy. He's coming to break you, right? Snap for snap, all right? Hand fight for hand fight, placement for placement, all right? Kyle Dake is looking to power you through the mat any way he possibly can for a 4 point. You give him the opportunity, he's looking to do that. You know, so these things, yes, there's techniques. We all know them. Everyone does them though, because everyone knows how to shoot a double. You know, I hit a sweep single. Everyone knows how to shoot a sweep single. You know, Kyle hand fights. I'm not gonna say everyone knows how to hand fight because I didn't know how to hand fight forever, but like majority of people get the idea of how to hand fight. You know, David Taylor ankle pick. Everyone knows how to do ankle pick. You know, so it's like, what's the difference between the two? Other than maybe a few technical things, but like for the most part, what's the difference? It's the mentality to go out there and do it. And then on top of that, not only to go out there and do it, but also the mentality in the practice room to continue to figure out ways to improve and get better, and then grow in that confidence within what they're doing. You know, and so when you watch them, you're seeing the technique, but you have to understand the mindset behind it or the process behind it. You know, for instance, David Taylor is very calculated. He's going to be very, you know, he knows ins and outs. He understands. I do this, you do this, I do this. He's very much like that. You know, you have guys like, you know, and then like I said, you have guys like Kyle Dake who understand every in and out of a position. You have guys like JB who's just like, who understands you know, pretty much every position, but it's so good. He's just like, I'm gonna wreck you and put you where I want you. You know, so it's just like, you guys have to understand that there is so much more that you are watching and that you are seeing than just a technique on a mat or guys being really good. Because I think that that's part of it. That's only part of what you're doing. You know, that's only part of what these guys are doing. You know, it's not just, hey, you know, I hit something, or these guys were just born with it or really good. They had a mentality about them to push themselves to be something more, you know? And so I think that that's something that we need to do right now, as far as finding our own mentality, what we want to be, understanding why, the whys and the whats and everything about ourselves, because this is something that each and every one of us, as some of the best wrestlers in the world, have done. And this is something that we continue to do. This is something that doesn't change. Techniques will come and go. Your style might be completely different, you know, whatever, you know, years ago. And there might be something you're like, you know what, I'll never probably do that again because it won't work at a certain level. I won't do this and whatnot. But, you know, mindset's always going to be a key. It is always going to be something that you have to look to improve. You have to look to do better, to understand, to make changes. And it has to be something that also at the same time, while you have to be able to make those changes and understanding yourself, you also at the same time, you need to be able to sustain it even when things aren't going great, like now. So right now, like things aren't going great, you know, this is, you know, it's a rough time. We've missed out on opportunities. You know, we don't know when we're going to get back. There's a lot of unknowns, but can you keep the mentality of like, I can still find ways to get better. I can still find ways to push myself. You know, I can still find ways within the limitations that I have to grind. You understand? Like, what am I gonna be when my back's against the wall? You know, this isn't a sport for people who want everything to be sunshine and rainbows. You know, no sport is, right? All sports are for those is like, when things get tough and things get hard, who are you gonna be? What are you gonna do? All right, and how can you persevere? Okay, and I think that's where we are right now, and that's what we need to focus on as competitors, as athletes, and then, you know, and find the little ways we have, and it can be anything. It can, like I said, I recommend, hey, watch your film, watch your matches you win, watch the matches you lose. All right, I know that that's hard, like it's definitely tough, but go back and watch them, like figure things out. Look at your footwork, look at where your hands are, look at why this happened over this. Break those things down, figure out what you were thinking. Try to understand it. Try to figure it out. You know, if it's more of a physical thing, hey, get a jump rope. Hey, do stance and motion. You know, if you have weights, hey, lift a little weights. You know, do what you can do. Do some cardio. All right. Find ways to push yourself. If you're gonna do cardio, you want to run a mile one day, and then check your time. Check your time. And then if you're going to run it again, try to beat that time and do it again and again and again. I remember actually I was just out here and I did that, except for this time when I ran the laps around my park, everything. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put 135 pounds on the back. I'm gonna put 135 pounds. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna figure this out. You know, I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna grind. You know, so there's plenty of ways to get better physically and mentally. While we're you know, sidelined for right now, there's plenty of ways for us to find out, you know, who we are as wrestlers and to improve that right now. And I think that if you guys take this time to, like I said, break yourself down, take yourself apart, put the flaws over here, put the good things over here, put what needs to be worked on here, you know, figure that stuff out, you will be improved. So, and I think some people right now are really freaking out about what's going to happen. You know, like, oh, I haven't been on the mat. This isn't, you know, I don't know where I'm going to be at. And it's just like, you don't have to be there physically to do it time and time again. And I promise you this, the one thing that might be changed or a little skewed is your timing. Other than that, your technique can still be just as good. All right. Your mentality can be just as good. All right. Your ability to work through positions can be just as good. All right. Like, so go ahead, process these things, understand these things, and let these things grow within you while you're sitting at home. You know, these are things that are just easy to do while we're sitting at home, while we're doing our thing. All right. And also, I promise you, if you're pushing to make yourself better right now, within the limitations that we have, right, with the quarantine, with the social distancing, within all that, if you're doing what you can to push yourself right now, I'm promising you in every way that you will be leaps and bounds ahead to people around you or that are involved with you, right? Right then and there. I can promise you that, right? Because right now, when things are rough and they're tough and they kind of stink and we don't know what's going on, and if you're able to improve through that, I promise you, when moments like this occur in the future, whether it be because of a pandemic, Lord, we pray that there's not another pandemic, all right? But the pandemic, whether it be that, whether it be whether it be like, hey, like things are getting tough, like I'm getting tired, my legs are like feeling this. If you can build a mentality of, I don't care what's going on, I'm gonna make sure that I get what I need to get done, and I'm gonna push myself to be the best. No matter where I am, what I feel, I can find a way. If you can train yourself to have that mentality, you will be a dangerous person. No matter what level, no matter what it is, you can do that. You can be dangerous. The most dangerous people are who can make adjustments and who have a mentality of like, doesn't matter what comes in front of me, I can do what needs to be done. I can get things done. And so, I mean, like, those are things that we can focus on. We can get done. We can figure out right now. And I just want to make sure you guys know that. And you know, I'm talking about this stuff, and I'm talking about mentality and the process of actually figuring out who you are and what you do, because if you don't have it, nothing else will matter. Nothing else will. All right. And I'm just trying to, reiterate that to you guys, because I think sometimes, especially in today's world, we've lost sight on mindset, and we focus so much on technique. And I think it's great that we have technique, but technique without mindset is flawed. And so I think that for you guys and for everyone watching, what I want you guys to focus on is I want you to grow yourself mentally as a wrestler, as a person, as a man, as a woman, and grow yourself in any way that you can, mentally first. And then I promise you, even techniques that you maybe like at the back of your hand, I promise you they're going to be so much better. So much better. Like anything you do will be enhanced. Okay? I say that I promise that, and I know because I know it. I've been around guys who've done it. I've done it. I've seen it. It's a part of me. It's a part of my training. It's a part of what I focus on. Mentality is something that nobody can can just like go through this sport without. Nobody. Ask anyone. If you ask them about their mentality, it's something powerful, right? It is something strong. It's something to go get it. So, that's what I want to say to you guys. So I see some comments down below. I'm going to answer some questions, and I'm going to answer them out loud. I hope you guys don't mind. I'll try and read out the names if I can. But all right. So Eric, I can't pronounce your last name, Eric. I'm sorry. He asked me the question: how do you see things playing out at 97 kg, or are you going down? Snyder versus Cox. # dream match. Well, well, obviously, when I say that how I see things, like I see things as me winning. Like I don't. That's how I train. We don't train. Like I don't know anyone that trains to lose. So that's why I say that. So that's what I train for. I'm training to go out there to win a match. Snyder and I have been, I would say, good friends for the last couple years. We weren't always good friends in high school. In high school, we didn't know each other enough. So I think there was a little high school tension or whatever. We only wrestled at Fargo, but that's what I'm training for. I'm training to win. I'm training to come and take that spot. I have a lot to prove to myself, and that's the only thing that matters. I have a lot to prove to myself, but I want to strive for, that I want to grind, and I want a chance to, not even show my greatness, but to experience and answer the question, can you be great? That's something that I want, and so I'm looking forward to the match. He's a great competitor, tough competitor. I mean, everybody knows this. He's medaled at every single international, world Olympic event that he's ever been in. Gold, silver, bronze, it doesn't matter. To medal in those things is amazing, but to have the accolades that he has obviously puts him at the forefront. Eric also asked, can you elaborate on the topic of reverse scrambling? I heard you talk about it a while ago, where you're trying to eliminate all but one option for an opponent. So reverse scrambling, and I think some people are like, well, that doesn't really make sense. And I'm not the best at describing it, but yes, basically what I'm doing. So scrambling, as we know, is the continuation of wrestling, having a bunch of options to go to. Reverse scrambling is taking those options away. So it's almost kind of like, and I wouldn't even say taken away. It's making it like percentage-wise, this is going to be the greatest outcome. And so what that does for me, and so basically what I do is I'm looking to take away this option. Like whether it be like, hey, this guy really likes to sweep to my right leg, so I'm going to circle left. On top of that, I'm going to tie up with my left hand first, or to get a hand on him and make sure that he can't go to this sweep. Okay, and this right leg's going to be back. So then that leaves my left leg. And then the options with my left leg, especially since I'm tying with this, right? I know that he can sweep to my left. I also know that he could possibly hit a pop high crotch here. He probably won't hit a double, because hitting a double on somebody with a standardized stance is not something that's usually too smart. You want to get somebody with their feet lined up. And also I know he could possibly snap me, right? I know I'm not too worried about the snap. I know I'm pretty strong, so I'm not too worried about the snap, and my hands are on him too, and I have hand position. Okay. If the sweep single comes, I'm ready to down block a fly. And so I know, and I know I have control of this side, and actually I already have the tie, so more than likely he can't sweep. But what's really there right now is popping this elbow up and going to a high crotch. Well, since I know that, and I'm expecting it, as soon as you go to initiate that move, I can one, react, and two, now my scrambling, quote unquote, having more ability, more in my continuation of wrestling and having options grows, because now I'm a step ahead. I know that you were going to shoot that. I knew it. I expected it. That's what I wanted you to do. You did it. And then I moved on, and I'm the one that down blocked. Now I'm spinning behind already, probably faster and quicker than you were expecting. And now I'm going, but now you're like, oh, I need to get out of this. So you're going to stand up, right? Because that's what guys do. When they're about to get run behind, they post up, stand up. So now I know I need a level change either into my high crotch or to my sweep single, right? And then I elevate it, break it down. It's, you know, it's, and now my what I want to do, or my, I guess my process, my scrambling has now enhanced. Now I know that I'm in the position. So it's basically just knowing where you are, knowing what this guy's capable of, knowing his options, and then making it so you don't have any other options. I'm not going to give you this or that. I'm going to make sure that you go down this path, the path that I'm leading you down, so that once this gets to a certain point, I'm going to stuff you. Let me see. Who or what made you want to wrestle? David Morgan. Honestly, that was like a family thing. My grandfather, my uncle, actually started my family off in wrestling, and then my brothers did, and then they were getting all the attention from my parents. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. But I was only 4, so probably wasn't completely the mindset. But I was just born in it, man. I was born in the sport. Like the day I was born, my brothers were at a wrestling tournament. So this was just something that was meant to be. You know, it was something that I you know, just loved seeing and being around. And actually, I should be honest, like I was terrible when I was younger. I lost, I'm pretty sure I lost most of my matches my first year. I lost like probably every one. And I remember I used to get mad. And I think this is where my mother tells me this is where she knew I was meant to wrestle. It's like whenever there was a tournament and I was like, and I was a kid and I was like, hey, like I want to wrestle again and everything, but I had lost twice. And so double elimination in tournaments, right? So I lost twice, and I was like, hey, I want to wrestle again. And my mom's like, you can't wrestle. And I was like, well, why not? And then she was like, well, because you lost twice, Jaden, so you're done wrestling. And I remember I was just bawling. And she was like, why are you crying? I'm like, because I don't get to wrestle anymore. And so that was my main thing with that. Like so that's where my mom says, like, I was meant to wrestle. Like, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was just I wanted to be out there on the mat and wrestling. So let me see. Will Webb says, what was your mindset when you wrestled Kyle Dake? Also, how did you feel when you won Beat the Streets? So wrestling Kyle Dake, that was an interesting one. So Kyle Dake, as we all know, beast of a wrestler. I think my mindset with that was just, you know, hey, I just gotta. My mindset for, actually, I should say, for the whole 2016 year, no one expected anything of me. Everyone told me, I remember when I announced I was going to 86, everyone told me that I was not going to be much, I wasn't going to do much, and really they were pretty much calling me an idiot for going down. They said that's the dumbest thing I could have done. And so going down, I was just like, well, there's not much expected of me anyway. Might as well give it everything I got. And I remember, because after nationals that year, I only trained a week for the Olympic trials. I only trained a week. And so then I went, and I remember Coach Smith was trying to convince me, because Coach Smith had to convince me to go to the Olympic trials. And he did, and I just told him, well, it's got to be done my way, and it needs to be done my way and with the way that I want it to be done. And he agreed, and we did it. And Mike Ironman was part of my training. Jaden Ironman was a part of my training. And we were just like, yeah, not many people expect much. Let's just go out here and do what we got to do. And I think that at the time with Dake, you know, like it was just the hardest thing was not to be, it wasn't like fear, but be starstruck, you know, not like to hold back because of who he was. And I've never really had that problem, but Dake for me was someone that I really looked up to, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. And I was we were in college, you know, passing, and he was someone I was paying attention to as I was going into college. So, you know, it's just, you know, hey, not much is expected of you. You might as well just do your best and see what happens. And it so happened that my best ended up winning. So it was nice. Pepe says, do you have a routine to focus right before a match? If you do, what is it? I'm a big fan. You're motivated to wrestle. Awesome. Well, that's great. First of all, Pepe, I'm glad that I could, you know, be someone, a catalyst to help you, you know, love the sport and really want to do it. For me, honestly, I'm kind of weird when it comes to mentality. I'm a person that you see a bunch of guys like getting slapped in the face. I don't understand that. Like, if anyone in the comments, like on the Q&A, if you can tell me why people like getting slapped in the face, I don't get it, because it just looks like it hurts. So it's just like, wow, I don't know, but yeah. So somebody explain that to me below. Um, but um, for me, like I enjoy the way I get ready is I stay away from it. I think sometimes what we do something what I call ambushing. And so what ambushing is when somebody is before a match, even before it can be before an event, they start talking to themselves, right? And they're like they start talking to themselves, or they start envisioning themselves and everything going like terrible, like I don't understand. Like they start putting themselves in situations before the situations that even happened. So they surround themselves with all this negativity and this bad before the match even started. So when they go out there, they've already lost, and they've already used up all this mental energy for things that weren't even happening. What if he does this? What if he does that? Like, so for me, and this is one reason why I don't watch film, because that's what I do when I do watch film. When I watch film, I'm not wrestling, I'm reacting, and that's something I don't do. So I stay away from it. And the way I stay away from it, it's pretty simple. I just talk to people about anything. I laugh. Sometimes I sing, possibly dance. I'm a little weird. People judge me for it, but it is whatever. But like that's what I do. I stay away from it. I do not think about this match. I do not care about this match. I do not worry about this match until I step on the line. And by the time I step on the line, there isn't any time. So then when the whistle blows, it's just, all right, let's wrestle. All right, it's just wrestling. But I stay away from it. I remember in college, Don Bradley was the guy that would always come up to me and just like, especially when I would just sit around, I would just be like not saying anything, very serious. He'd be the one to come up and be like, crack a joke, maybe start laughing, start talking and whatnot. And it's just something that works for me. Stay away from the match as long as possible. Don't make it bigger than what it is. All right, it's just another 6 minutes. For me, it's 6 minutes. I'm going to pass this. Evan says, what is your mentality going into a big match or tournament? Oh, like I just said, don't make it bigger than what it is. What does my shirt say? By Braden. My shirt says Wrestle Like a Girl. I'm actually on the advisory council for Wrestle Like a Girl, so trying to build up women's wrestling. And honestly, I think women's wrestling is one of the things that saved wrestling in general. Competing in the Olympics, and we're working on making it a D1 sport. So let's see if that can happen in the next couple of years. What was going through your head? All right, Jack says, what was going through your head and what was your mindset before your World Finals match? Honestly, my mindset was to, and my World Finals match actually kind of is confuses me. I don't want to say upsets me, confuses me. But before, it was just kind of like I was chilling out. I remember I was joking around with KJ in the back and cracking some jokes, hanging out, laughing, talking about the experience. And it's harder at that level because the guy that you're about to face is literally right next to you, So, but at the same time, it's just like I keep it in my mindset, like he doesn't matter, like he does not matter, because if I don't do what I can do, then I'm gonna lose anyway. So focus on me. What's best for me? The best thing for me to do is laugh, enjoy it. But I'm confused by my World Finals match because I thought when he got down 4-0 that he would take some opportunities, he would take some chances, and that's why I kind of, not saying like I wasn't trying to be, active or whatnot, but he was kind of like, I was expecting him to attack more. You're down 4-0, you got to come get points. Let me see here. Oh, Josh Cops just telling me that he's been doing some workouts with his FaceTime and Zoom. Who had the most influence in my career? Logan Katz. Honestly, I don't know if you believe me. In my career, I would say that there's the three people. One is obviously a wrestling coach. Mike Ironman is a huge influence in my career. He's he just is a wizard, man. He knows every position, every nook, every cranny. And you want to talk to someone about mentality, he knows mentality better than anybody. He understands it and is able to talk about it. And I think that's a big thing especially with mentality. I think that a lot of coaches can coach wrestling and technique and help other people learn it, but not many can really dig into the mind and the mentality behind it and actually teach that. And I want to say teach because you can't teach someone that, but make it so that it's something that somebody can grasp and understand enough for themselves. That's the big thing with that. So Mike Ironman was one. Muhammad Ali was one too for footwork and but basically just being a big guy that can move. And so was Barry Sanders and angles and changing direction, even just on a dime. Just seeing how he moved his feet. So those things actually kind of inspired me as well. So let me see. David Morgan, do you still wrestle? Do your brothers still wrestle? No, they do not. So they're both older than me. My brother Zach is a welder now. My brother Dre is actually head coach at Desmet High School in St. Louis, Missouri. And then Braden I'm going to try and pronounce this, McLaughlin. I'm going to say that I pronounce that right. Don't judge me. Have you wrestled Jordan Burroughs? I've met him before. Yes, I have wrestled Jordan Burroughs. It's a little different of a match, though, because I can't, obviously, I'm a lot bigger than Jordan. But one thing I do is I move really well, and I'm able to control my weight really well. And we love rolling together and competing. We go takedowns. Like the last camp I think we had, we were going takedowns together. And like my goal is to take him down without overpowering him. His goal is just to take me down. but my goal is to take him down without overpowering him. My goal is to take him down by outsmarting him and outquicking him and just being in on positions, being steps ahead. And I think it helps us both because he also has to do the same thing since I'm bigger. He can't just power double me, even though it still hurts when his face rams into my face. But like he can't. I'm not going to go down to that. So it's actually a really good battle between us two, and it's pretty awesome. How did you get stronger and faster? Well, I never. So here's the thing. This is going to be something that's going to surprise people. I didn't really lift until I came to the Olympic Training Center. So now that's where I think my strength. I think I've always been kind of just naturally strong. It's just something that I don't know. It's just I don't know what it is, but I've just always been naturally strong, naturally kind of built. But I didn't really start lifting until I came here to train, and like I think, and it wasn't because like I didn't believe in lifting. Like I'm not saying that. I didn't do it. I didn't lift as much because I was always competing in the summer, and that's when like your heavy lifting program happens. And so like I was always either competing over the summer. So I think I only lifted maybe a year or two while I was in college, and then the next 2 years I didn't. So yeah, that's just kind of how that works. I'm gonna switch over here. So how do you fix your mindset after a tough match? Well, I think one thing is it depends where you are, So I've lost tough matches. Obviously, I lost at NCAAs. I've lost to the Olympics, World Championships, and I think that it's easier to change your mindset when you're in the moment. Like you have matches still to wrestle, at least for me, because, and I remember actually a prime example of this was at the Olympics. So at the Olympics, I lose in the semifinals to Salim Nazar from Turkey, and I lose to him, and I remember I went back and my coach at the time, Mike Ironman, Mike's a great guy, but Mike was like kind of broken down. I remember I grabbed him and I was just like, hey, we got another match to wrestle. We got to go. Like, don't worry, we're gonna come back. Let's get this bronze medal. Let's do what we got to do. But we don't have time for this right now. So like I think for me, like especially depending where I'm at, if I'm in the middle of a tournament, like I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to feel bad. There's more matches to be won, to be wrestled. Like the time to reevaluate things is not during the tournament. I don't think this is why I have a problem. I shouldn't say I have a problem with, but like I don't like coaches that like as soon as the wrestler's done, they pull them aside and they're like telling them 1,000 things that they did right or wrong. And it's like it's not the time to evaluate. The time will come later. Like, we can talk about this later. For right now, I need to be in this. I need to be in a battle mentality. No, don't be wrong. I'm not saying you can't be like, hey, make sure you're doing like you're scrolling a little bit, doing this, but it's not time to be making these big changes to what we do, or saying like, why aren't you doing this or that? It's time to just like competition is time for me to let me roll, let me ride. And also it's time for me also depending on the competition, right? If it's like especially those beginner competitions you go to at the beginning of the season, the ones that are a little bit easier, it's like let let them learn, let them grind, let them figure it out. And then even when they get in the tougher brackets, let them learn, let them figure it out, right? They need to learn to do that on their own. Um, but like you don't need to be right in the face of somebody right then and there. It just doesn't. It's just not something that needs to happen. So I think like in the moment, right then and there, it's really easy for me to just be like, you know what, there's nothing. I'm really good at letting go of things I can't change, and if I just lose, I can't change that, you know. But what I can do is I can prepare for what's coming next. And so I always focus. I focus on the things that I can control, not on the things that I can't. Um, Let me look here. Did you do other sports? Yeah, actually, I played football. I played football, and actually, I played baseball as well. But I was a little kid. Um, I shouldn't say I was a little kid. I was in eighth grade. I pitched a no hitter, so it was nice. I was really happy. But I played baseball a little bit, and then I played football. I liked football. I love the thought of you know. I love how I criticize people for getting slapped in the face before a match, but yet then I'm gonna tell you that I love the thought of running as fast as I can into somebody's body and trying to crush them. It's just I'm not a violent person. I promise. It's fun. The adrenaline, everything. I kind of like the team aspect. I like it and I don't. I don't like that I can do everything right in a sport and I do my job. But I have to rely on somebody else, and somebody else does theirs or doesn't do theirs, it can screw everything up. Like I just don't like that. So, but yeah, I actually played football. I like football a lot. I had a chance to play football in college, not for Mizzou, but in general. Um, I love wrestling. Wait, how much did you weigh when you were 12 years old? Probably like 100 something pounds. I was I was probably like at like 100, maybe like I think like 120, 130, maybe more. I was a big kid. So that's a question for my mother. Um, she would know those kinds of things. Um, Leo asked me, "Have you won or lost more matches?" I'm gonna hope that I've won more matches, but I don't know the number, and I probably wouldn't want to know, even if it were doesn't. I probably wouldn't want to know. Period. And what was it? Noah asked me, what is your favorite food before a match?" Beef jerky, easy. Love beef jerky. Just original beef jerky. Nothing else. Usually just because I don't think my stomach could handle it if I had anything else or too much flavor or anything. I just beef jerky, simple. And then someone asked, Josh asked, what do I do after a match? Well, I do a cool down. And I think some of you guys saw that on Flow, where I'm doing some explosive kind of like, it depends where we're at, but like doing some sprints and jogs. And you have to know when to do those things, because you don't want to exert too much energy, but you do want to get the lactic acid out of you. You want to continue moving. So I have a regimen where I do some like 5 sprints, back and forth. So I sprint down, take a little break or jog around, sprint again, jog around, sprint again, and then I do a couple push-ups, a couple sit-ups, a couple body squats, bounce, feel good, and get ready for the next thing. And it's really quick. It needs to be quick. It doesn't need to be something where it's long and drawn out. Like let yourself recover and grow and get ready for the next one. Will you continue to all right? So Joseph Rudy asked, will you continue to train at the Ohio RTC in preparation for the delayed Olympic trials? Yes, I will. I will continue to go to the Ohio RTC. They got the partners for me. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm at the Olympic Training Center right now, and that's where I'm stationed at. I'm gonna stay at here. Like I believe this is where I'm meant to be. Colorado's my home. It's where I want to be. The Olympic Training Center. But Ohio State definitely offered up the partners and offered up the ability to be able to come out when I needed to and get senior level fields. So they have a lot more. Obviously, they have a lot more senior level guys than me. because I have high schoolers. And don't get me wrong, these high schoolers are great, and like I've been working with high schoolers for the last 2 years, and obviously I've improved, you know, and so I mean that's just evidence you can learn from anybody. So I mean, I've improved, but I think that it's good, especially with going up a weight, to get senior level guys, senior level feels, stronger man with power and feel all that. So I got Desi, I have Miles Martin, Colin Moore, all these guys. So it's been great. And actually, that's a great question because like I didn't ever see me going to an RTC before, like out of college, because I didn't want to represent a brand. I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be, Tiger Style or whatnot. And even to this point, I still don't consider myself to be representing a brand, because I was never a Buckeye, and I'm grateful for what they showed me. But like I think that's something that even they and I told them before, like that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to represent a brand. I'm here to wrestle, and I'm here to represent Team USA, and that's why I chose to come to Olympic Training Center, a neutral site, where it's like the only colors that matter here are red, white, and blue, and Team USA, and doing the best we can as a whole and as a country. It makes it better. Mr. Baker himself asks, your misdirections are the best we've seen. Can you talk about your footwork and training? Is it more mental mindset or just physical gift? Neither, honestly. I think that it's gaining more knowledge of the sport, honestly. So when we do our shots, what you guys have to realize is that our shots set us up to go into other shots. What a lot of times what will happen is that we'll take a shot and then we'll back out and then we'll take another shot. And it's like that's not misdirection, and that's not that's not multiple attacks. Yes, you took more than one, but it's not two together. When you say put two together, it's and I think it is maybe a little bit, it's not even a gift, but training this. So when I shoot my squeak, to be able to drop down and change it to my high crotch right now, right? Or when I shoot my high crotch, to be able to switch and go back the other way, right? So it's about knowing how to maneuver your body to be able to switch directions. And when you realize this, and I want you guys to try this. I want you guys to try to shoot a sweep single right into a high crotch on the other side without coming up, without raising, right? And so when you shoot, I wish I had a map. I wish I could show this. And actually, if you go, I don't know if you go on YouTube or you go on Facebook, I did a camp at AWA, and there's a stanza where I talk about how the shots that we take set us up for the shots that we are going into, And I think another thing too is knowing and seeing the reactions of somebody else. And this is stuff that it took time. Like I had to do it slowly, right? I had to do it slow. I had to go here and then see this guy move. And then as time went on, my recognition of what this guy was doing, his reaction was so much faster to be able to then now I need to change. And I need to go to a different shot right now. But that's a great question. No, it's practice, it's repetitions, time and time again, recognizing this guy's reactions, knowing where I can go next, and learning how to maneuver my body to be able to do that. And I say my body specifically because how my body does it will not be as how your body does it. But I'm telling you though, you have to learn to do this because you're wasting your time. If you take a shot, come back up, take a shot, come back up. That won't progress, So this is the way to progress. And actually, Mr. Baker, I'll send you a video of me doing that afterward, or whenever I can, or whenever I have a mat or around or something. Keegan Daly says, what do you think you would be doing if you didn't wrestle? I'd probably either be singing somewhere or I don't know, or doing like I've always wanted. This one thing I want to do. My dream job is to be a creative writing teacher for a deaf school. That would be something. I know that's very specific, but I took things that I like to do and that are part of my life, and I put them together, and that's what I came up with. I love writing, and ASL is a huge part of my life. I already answered that. So I'm gonna say Jermaine Lindsay. I hope I pronounced that right. Have you ever felt like it was your mission? It's your mission to get more African Americans to wrestle. Um, that's a complicated question. I would think that um, it was more so for me. I would think of it like this: like I look to be, I am an example whether I like it or not. And as is anyone who is in a position with a platform, you are an example for anyone, whether you like it or not. So, I don't think that it was ever something that I ever pinpointed out like this is my mission to do this, but it's definitely something that I don't shy away from when that opportunity arises. I look to get anybody to wrestle, whether they're African American or not. My platform is not limited to a race or whatever. It's limited. It's to spread it to everybody. But it's definitely something like I've looked to do, and I know that that's the case because I got involved with Beat the Streets, done camps with them. I've traveled around the nation doing camps with them, and predominantly a lot of the kids that they work with are African American. So I don't think that was something I really thought of. I just thought of it as doing camps and helping kids who were in need. It didn't matter who or what color they were. It just matters that that I want people to wrestle and enjoy the sport. Um, Anonymous attendee. How does it, do the goes go between you and Kyle? They go really tough and really hard and really fast, and they get really sweaty. So I won't go into details of that, but you can tune in whenever we wrestle. Hopefully we wrestle. I gotta do my job to get there, but whenever we wrestle for the Olympic trials. Um, Let me look here. There's some from Facebook. Can you hear Josh? Can I hear you sing? On YouTube. I'm actually gonna do a live at some point, and and go on that to do some music I've been working on. So let me look. Someone asked me how do you control your emotions after a loss. I think that's a little different, but like emotions are something you can control, right? And so I don't think that. So that's I think the reason it's easy for me because for me it's like it's easy for me to control my emotions after a loss because I can control them. Like I can have a thought process on that. I think once again it's the same way that I how do I say that I prepare my mindset for a match. Um, I stay away. I stay away from. I get away from that moment. I get away from what's pushing me into that. Like what's making me feel that. Like I get away from it. I'm like that's not what I'm gonna do. I don't need to focus on that. And also I reinforce what I do need to focus on. And this is how I control it. Like I need to focus on this next match. I need to focus on getting prepared. It can be as simple, and if that's too much, like it can be as simple as like I need to focus on getting something to eat, and I need to focus on getting a cool down. So I think in the way that I control the things I focus on things I can control. That allows me to control my emotions as well, and making sure that I have steps to take to get where I can go. Um, what in someone who? Oh, that's a good question, Charles. What went in your mind? What was on your mind when you were up against someone you had already beat? Who someone who had already beat you? Okay, so what was on my mind when you go against somebody that's already beat you? That's simple. Last time isn't this time. That's that's very simple. Before is not now. You know, like I think it's quoted best in and was it Kung Fu Panda. I'm gonna quote Kung Fu Panda for you right now. All right. Right. The past is history. Tomorrow's a mystery, and today is a is a present. Is a gift. That's why it's called the present. So the gift is I get another chance to take you down. But that's the way I focus on it. Last time and this time. The big time for me when I had to face that was I've had to face that a couple times. Not necessarily against maybe actually yeah. World Championships, Mishkelevi, first match, 2018. I've lost to Mishkelevi twice, two times. And then I have him first round. And actually I'd lost to him that year. So I lost to him at the World Cup. And then I went to Worlds and I had him the first round. And that's the only thing I think about. Like last time's not this time. It's completely different. Everything's different. It is. Even if we were to lose, if I were to lose to somebody and then had to wrestle them the next day, it's still not, no, it's different. It's completely different. Completely different, different circumstances, different time. Nothing of the past matters for now. This is the only thing that matters. And I think that's why whenever I face anybody, like that's just the mindset. Like this is the only thing that matters. So, I kind of already answered that one. Where did you get the saying? So, Will Webb, where I got that saying was actually from Mike Ironman himself. So, actually, in my Flow film, Mike Ironman is the one that came up with that saying, the initial saying of, you know, winning doesn't mean that you got better. It means that you just scored more points than the other guy. And you know, I didn't always understood what he meant by that when I was a kid. But as I grew up, I did. And I think that even through little pockets of my life, there have been times I followed that and times that I didn't. And I definitely think that, you know, well, we have to understand that sometimes, like I said, we are really good at, as athletes and as people, we're really good as coming up short and thinking that we made it. And sometimes winning can be a false reality. You know, winning can make you think you're something that you're really not. You know, or that you're doing something that you're really not. And I think that's why also it's important to break down your technique. It's important to break down your processes. It's important to figure things out here and there. You know, there shouldn't, and I think it's important to know when you're doing something because you're winning, because you're outsmarting, outwitting, actually getting better, or because maybe you're stronger, more physically mature, or guys just aren't to your level yet, you know. And it's important to be able to figure that out and understand that. And Mike was big on that. Let me see. Yeah, I'm on these Zoom ones now. All right, so Colton asked me who's my favorite person to wrestle in the U.S. and in the world. I would say right now, well, honestly, right now that it would have to be. Does it have to be someone I competed against? I'll answer it a couple ways. Practice-wise, it'll be Kyle Snyder, and I gotta give another one. Mike Machiavelli are two of my favorite people to wrestle, and Kyle Gadsden. Those guys are pretty fun to wrestle. Competition-wise, that's a tough one. I would probably have to say that competition-wise, my favorite people to have wrestled have been. I'll have to put it like this: everyone that I've wrestled in the finals and Final X, so like Bo, David, Kyle Dake, Hayden Zilmer, like all those guys, they're really fun to wrestle for different reasons. They all have different styles. They were just fun to wrestle. It was fun to wrestle these guys and see what they were made out of, and it's just fun to put what you got against somebody else. Jordan says your passion is infectious, and I want to train like you. It's like, all right, then come out to the Springs then. So Evan asked, what's my favorite move from Parterre on top? It's a key lock lace, and actually it's the lace that you saw me hit on Hayden Zilmer in 2018. Yeah, 2018 in the second match to tech fall him. That's my favorite turn. Any chance I get to do that, I'll do it. It's very fun. Chris Ramos asks, what type of workout/training do you do on and off the mat to increase your body awareness or skill recognition? Well, this is something we do at a lot of camps. We do all these things one thing right now, a training that I do off the mat is I jog. Like sometimes I'll jog the 6 miles to the OTC and then go and lift, and that's just to push myself, more of a mental thing. But like right now, so I do a lot of things like pushing like jumping ropes. So right now I'm doing like 1,000 jump ropes a day. Actually, sorry, every other day. Um, and like just pushing myself like that, getting my feet ready, um, getting quicker, getting faster. I think that's important. I also think that another thing that I do on the mat is I do foot fires, I do foot quick feet drills, um, working on my explosiveness. As far as being aware and stuff, that's stuff we train. So like edge of the mat, we put you on the edge of the mat, feet are literally up against the line. You got to get out of there without stepping out. Putting yourself in situations to understand that there's not really a drill that you can. I wouldn't say drill, but like there are drills you can do, but there's nothing like I should say workout that you can do. It's just simply put yourself in that position, work through that position, break it down, figure out how you need to either get out of it, improve it, do better by you. Um, but every workout that you do off the mat is important, like airdyne workouts, cardio, your lifts that you have to do. All of that's important. Push, you need to be doing all of that. Let me look here. So lunch break asked me, do you have to bulk up to get to 97 kilos? I had to. I should say I had to, but I didn't. Like now, it's pretty natural on me. So for the longest time, for the last 2 years, I've been walking around 200 pounds, and so getting the weight to get on was actually really, really hard. And actually, just recently, it actually was stuck. Where it was like it's naturally a part of you. And even then, once I got bigger, I had to learn how to move with it because you have more weight, but you're also trying to move just as fast and just as quick as you were before. Which now it's like it's easy. I'm moving just as smooth, just as quick, just as easy, just as fluid, and it feels great. It feels natural. I had a great lifting coach, a great dietitian. Metabolic Meals helped me a huge bunch to put the weight on. And also on top of that, like I'm able to be, and like I don't want to get too big, so I'm not going to be, 230 and cutting down, or 225 and cutting down. Like I like being around between the 220 to 215 range through my training, because like you said, obviously I've wrestled these guys. I've wrestled guys who are 97 kilos, and I've wrestled them when they're not weighing 97. I've wrestled them when they're heavier, and I've never felt bossed around, moved around, pushed around, even when I was weighing 200 pounds. So, I know position, I know my strengths, and I know my weaknesses, and size wasn't something that I was too worried about coming into this. I think if anything, it wasn't. If anything, there was a concern because I don't say concern, was getting used to the strain of moving myself and moving my opponent who was bigger. And I think moving my opponent that was bigger was probably the bigger thing I had to learn. And really, it wasn't even like learning how to do it. It was more so just being more precise with what you were doing. And then on top of that, like I said, my lifting coach has done an amazing job. I'm getting so much stronger, so much faster. I think I'm actually moving faster than I was when I was 200 pounds. So I think it's pretty cool. Yes, I can't remember the last time I got pinned, Dalton. Thank you very much for that question. I remember it was by Luke Sheridan at universities, at U23s. That was the last time I got pinned. Got me into a lefty headlock. He's actually a really cool guy. He comes out to OTC pretty often. Greco guy. We actually wrestled again later on. I think the next year at the Iowa State Open. But great guy. But yeah, thanks Dalton for that memory lane. So Joseph Bernardi said, how do I feel about coronavirus affecting my career? It stinks, but at the same time, it's my career doesn't mean more than people's lives, and that will never change. So, and I think that it's something where it stinks. I understand, and I have friends, and like it's not just me, because like also like I have friends and people who want to compete.
I understand people are also at different points of their career. Like I'm still young. I'm 25 and getting younger. So it's I'm in a point. I'm in the peak of my career. And so it kind of like so for me, like it's a little bit. I guess maybe it's easy. I don't want to say it like that, but maybe it's easier for me to take that and understand that. But um, so but like for people like JB, Taylor, these guys are reached 29, 28, 30, 31 years old, and so like I understand like how it could be different maybe on their sides. So we'll just so for me it's just take it one day at a time. Um, Pray for those who are struggling, and do what I can within the limitations that are set. And yeah. So Josh, is it Coop or Cop? I don't know, but or Cope. It could be Cope too. But how hard was it to wrestle Bo Nickel? Um, I don't know if hard was the thing because it wasn't like oh, I have a Chihuahua by the way, Jason. Yeah, she's she's not happy right now, but she's gonna have to deal with it because this is more important right now. I'll be right there. Don't worry. Um, how hard was it wrestling Bo Nickel? It was hard. I don't know. It's a hard one for me to answer. Like you know, Bo's a great competitor. Um, he does things really well. Um, I think that it's I think his uniqueness is what makes him hard. Like the way he's in his stance, the way he moves, how he sets some things up. I think that's what made it hard. Um, so I definitely think obviously he's one of the better guys in the country, especially when you see what he did in that year against top tier competition. Mike Machiavelli, Zomer, um, everybody. Was just tearing it up. I didn't feel I don't know. I don't know what the word is, like stressed, or I don't want to say I didn't feel threatened because obviously like I have complete respect for what he's able to do. But it was one of those matches where like I don't know, I just didn't feel I don't know if it's I wasn't feeling nervous or I didn't feel or maybe I wasn't that I feel threatened. I'm not sure, but he's definitely tough, and but I always just felt that I was gonna come out on top. Hey, 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 no fighting. Sorry, dogs are going crazy. So yeah. Um, so besides style, what is this is from Zach Beedley. Besides styles, what was the biggest difference between college wrestling and international? I think the biggest difference between you know college wrestling and international is the pace, um, which is interesting. So the pace in college wrestling, even though it's a longer match, is actually a lot quicker, and the style of wrestling itself, like the hand fighting, everything that goes into that, um, it's a lot more exhausting. Whereas international wrestling, pace is usually slowed up, um, at least by other countries. They try to slow you down and just kind of like mosey. Almost in some countries, they just want to lull you to sleep and then they'll explode. Um, but also, I think that international, they have a lot more in-depth knowledge about positioning. Um, and obviously we're talking about like the best of the best. They do. I still stand by it that I think that folk style is crucial in order to do freestyle, because I think folk style actually teaches you to wrestle through positions more so than just doing freestyle does. Because we see a lot of times, how many times have we seen our guys in the U.S. be in positions or in tough spots, wrestle through those spots and get points, or over guys who were in tough spots or in tough positions and they didn't, they bellied out or tried to just tripod and stuff like that. So I think that there's definitely a huge difference, but I think that still folk style really helps with us being able to learn to go through these positions and these changes. Let me put this here. All right, guys. So I think that's all the questions that I have. Um, you know, Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Baker, for having me on. It's been great. Hopefully, we will be back soon to doing the things that we're doing, and we want to do, and get back to competing. But until that day comes, find the little ways to keep getting better. Focus on your mentality. Watch your film. Watch yourself. Don't. It doesn't matter what anybody. Watch yourself. Figure yourself out. And be safe and be blessed. And thank you guys for having me. All right, great questions on here. I love the Q&A. It was amazing. And so you guys had actually really good questions. It was refreshing to see some really nice questions, because I've been asked a bunch of questions. They're usually the common questions like, oh, what was it like doing this? What was it like? But those questions were really good. And yeah, hey, and yeah, Kung Fu Panda, definitely. I love that reference. But thank you guys so much. Be blessed. Have a great day. And be safe out here, okay?